Burger. I got Pandemic. I already have Pandemic. Legacy? Season 1?
Ho ho ho! It's the FailroadExpress year-end review fun time-tacular. We have had such a good year at the FailroadExpress this year, and I am sweltering in this stupid outfit because I woefully underestimated the weather. It's like 80 degrees out.
What are you doing, dude? I'm not thinking.
Trying to be festive, you Grinch. Didn't even hit your face.
We filmed twice as many videos this year as we did last year, and half of these videos had to do with some kind of Axis and Allies joke.
And guys, I'm a cyborg now.
In this special Christmas season year-end extravaganza,
Palooza.
we're going to recap some of our favorite games of the year.
Yeah, and we're also going to talk about the KickStarter games that we donated to, the ones that got funded and the ones that didn't get funded. Aw.
And we'll be talking about what we're looking forward to in 2016. The Cyborg Uprising, the games that we'll be playing.
Cyborg games? Like Mecha Dreidel?
Yeah, and Android.
Oh, that's a good one. And we've got to go visit a game store owner at his local game store and talk to him about games he recommends to get all the little kiddies involved this year for gift ideas to get your kids interested in board games and get be a little bit more social.
Yeah.
Why are we visiting this game store in particular, though? We're not being paid.
Well, I figured it was a good idea since you're gonna have a kid.
I'm not gonna have... Boys can't have kids. Oh my god, my wife's gonna have a kid. And if my wife has a kid, then I have to be responsible for that kid. And then I have to give it like 3 board games a day. I've only got like 5 years to be a good board game dad role model for this kid before it grows up and wants to play Risky.
It's gonna be okay.
Get your metal hands off me, you monster.
I don't even think a 5-year-old can play board games. Are they old enough?
I actually don't have an answer to that question, but the board game store owner guy does.
Yeah, let's go talk to him.
Yeah, to the board game store.
What the hell are you guys doing? We just get up. You get up and you walk because you have legs.
What?
Oh
my god.
So here we are at your local game store in Matthews, North Carolina. The owner, Timothy, is joined us. Thank you for having us here today, Timothy.
Yeah. My pleasure.
So we're talking about games for under the age of 8 for kids.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's possible for kids under 8 years old to learn a game because I go through the game store and most of the boxes say ages 8 and up. First of all, are there games for kids under 8, and can kids under 8 even learn to play games?
Absolutely. We have lots of games for under 8. Specifically, the youngest game that we have is this one here called Roll and Play by Think Fun. That's designed for 18 months and up.
Okay, that's way younger than 8.
It is.
That works.
This one's a great game because it teaches concepts of color and taking turns and drawing cards. And you can start it at 18 months just by simply rolling the die and having them say what color it is. And then as they get older, they can start learning, that orange color means draw an orange card or whatever.
Okay.
And then as they get older, they start drawing the cards and doing what it says. So this one, for instance, says, wave bye-bye. So you tell your child, hey, wave bye-bye, and they get the card.
Okay, so you've got a game that actually grows with the child as they get older and they become more cognitive. Are there other examples of such a game?
Absolutely, there's lots of good examples. Haba is a company that makes an entire line of games like this one that is called Animal Upon Animal. As a very young child, my son started learning this when he was just under 3 years old, and you basically start by stacking things. So you just have him stack things and play with the pieces.
Okay.
And then when you start playing it with him, when they're a little bit older, maybe 3.5 or so, they start rolling the die, taking turns, and that one says, stack 2 pieces. So now they have to stack 2 pieces up there.
Okay.
Or the alligator says stack 1 next to the alligator, that kind of thing.
And the box says ages 4 and up, and when did your child start learning?
Right when he was about 3 years old.
Okay.
So definitely a little bit younger than the box says, and that's pretty common with the Haba line. You can usually start teaching it a little younger than they say.
Okay.
Okay.
This is another Haba game then?
It is.
Pack of eggs or something? Dancing eggs?
Dancing eggs. This one's a great one. My son loves playing this. He's, again, 4 years old right now. He started learning it when he was about 3, and we start by just using the one die. There are 2 dice, but I stick with just the one die for younger kids. And you roll the die, figure out where it says to put an egg, and then you put that egg wherever it goes, in the armpit or under the neck or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And then you keep it there, and you go around taking turns doing more eggs. And then when they get older, they can add the second die, which is the actions that they can take, and whoever basically wins that action gets the next egg. But you have to keep the eggs wherever they're supposed to be while you're doing the actions, so it gets more complicated.
So the kids are also learning to be competitive.
This one is a competitive game, yes.
Okay, yeah. It's also not a choking hazard because this is a big egg.
Yeah.
And so you've got this problem nowadays where I see a lot of parents, new parents especially, their kid is very little and they just hand them a cell phone and the kid's playing games from a very young age. They end up growing up without playing board games or any game, and they only want to play video games.
And in fact, that's kind of what killed my playing board games when I was, back in the 90s, was that video games became really popular, and well, the board games really weren't that great, it seemed like. So what about a kid, how do you teach a kid to play board games also?
So hopefully you're introducing board games at a young age at the same time as video games, so that they don't see them as competition, they just see them as another type of gaming. But if they're already in that rut of I play video games, I don't do that board game thing, you can try and pull them out by getting a game that has a good theme that they enjoy. For example, this game here, Love Letter, may not seem like a game that they would enjoy, but then they made this Batman-themed version of it. It's a great game, great mechanics.
By Batman.
Wow, that's an oxymoron right there.
It does seem like it, but in this one you play Batman beating up villains, so who doesn't like that theme?
In a lovely. Okay,
That's
interesting. I get you now. So theme is really important, not just the mechanics of a game.
Absolutely.
When you're teaching a kid, I had a short attention span as a kid, so what, like, is it going to take me 30 minutes to learn how to play, or all these games? What about the game mechanics?
Getting into a game quickly is very important, especially for younger kids. Finding games that you can teach them very quickly within 5 minutes or less is very, very important. Mechanics are also good to keep them playing that game, because even if they love the theme, like, oh, this is Batman, if they start playing it and don't enjoy it, they won't keep playing it for long. So a combination of good theme and mechanics is very important.
Okay, well, this is great. What about, since it's the holidays, what about gift ideas?
Yes, because, like you said, the family's going to get together, someone's going to break out one of those old board games.
Oh, Monopoly, it's time for Monopoly. No, it's not. You should be ashamed of yourself. Get out of here, Aunt Ruth. But what do you do? I was raised with things like Monopoly and Battleship, and I hate those games, and it's probably why it took me so long to play board games in the first place.
Yeah.
What do you do to save the modern family this holiday season when they go out to give a gift to someone? Maybe if they just give them a video game, they just play it by themselves. But
or any other toy, it's only going to entertain that one child. But with a board game, not only are you entertaining that child, you got that child a present, but you kind of got the entire family and his friends a present as well.
Exactly. You can play games together as a group. There are some games like Suro over there, which is designed to be able to play with up to 8 people at the same time.
And we had a video about this earlier. We love this game.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game.
One thing that I love about this game is that it says 8 and up on the box, but I've played it with 3 and 4-year-olds without a problem. Basically, if you can learn how to follow a line, you can learn to play this game.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, so that just kind of goes to show you that that age on the box is just a suggestion.
Absolutely.
So, but a game like Suro is kind of a departure from what a lot of people are used to. If I only knew Monopoly, I probably am going to want something similar to Monopoly. Otherwise, I don't think I'll understand it.
Sure.
Is there suggestions for games that are similar to ones that we probably grew up playing?
Absolutely. So for Monopoly, there's a game called Catan Junior, which is similar. You're trading resources for position on the board, kind of like in Monopoly.
And that one says ages 6 and up.
It is. My wife started teaching my son this game when he was about 3.5.
Okay.
And he loves playing it. He's now 4 years old and is playing it with the full rules without any problems. He's even getting decent at the strategy of it. So definitely another suggested age on that one. But Catan Junior is a great one because the adults and children can both enjoy it at the same time.
Nice. What's
And
that?
Then we got this here.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, we got this one
Wonky,
here.
yeah. Wonky's great for being similar to Uno and Jenga. It's kind of like combining both at the same time, and you have to worry about the blocks and the cards. So
it's another one of those games where it's like, hey, remember that old classic game? Well, here's one that you
a
can
new
play.
take on it, yeah. And this one's great for any age group, as long as they can start building blocks, basically.
Nice.
So,
And co-op games too.
Oh yeah. What is this?
absolutely. So
Oh yeah, Forbidden Island.
if you're wanting to play something with the family, Forbidden Island is a great one. It says 10 plus, but the nice thing is since it's cooperative, you're all working together,
Yep.
you can kind of help each other out. So even if you have somebody that's only 6, 7 years old, you can kind of help them play through it and it will work. I've played this with 6-year-olds without a problem. So.
Nice. And then another game we have here is Smash Up. So
Absolutely.
That looks like a game that would stop a kid from playing Space Invaders or
yeah, or
Pac-Man
or something.
whatever it's called.
Them new
Smash
video
Up.
games.
Smash Up is great because it grabs a lot of different themes and you get to choose any two and shove them together and play it. So it's great to get people into these. It is a little bit older.
Yeah.
It does say 12 and up on the box.
Okay.
Honestly, as long as they can read, they can play it.
Okay.
So I've played this with 7 and 8-year-olds without a problem.
Like the box just looks so much fun. Like I want to play.
Yeah, actually
Absolutely.
it is. It's great advertising for that. So
And it's a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been a real eye opener. I no longer feel anxious as a new parent.
I didn't realize there were that many games for kids under the age of 8, and that whatever it says on the box is just a suggestion too. So
And
Absolutely.
then the game can grow up with the kid, or the kid can
Yep.
grow up with the game rather, and you can increase the difficulty.
okay.
This has just been a great overall experience. Thank you again for your time, Timothy.
Yeah.
Really appreciate
Anytime.
it.
Thank you.
Once again, this was Your Local Game Store. Oh, not Your Local Game Store, but the name of the place is Your Local Game Store in Matthews, North Carolina.
I think you did that on purpose.
I did,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
All right. Back to the Bat Cave.
Back to the Batcave.
All right.
With the love letter.
So guys, what were your favorite games of the season that we played? Mine was X-Wing.
X-Wing miniatures?
Yeah.
Nice. I still enjoy playing that game, absolutely.
I was surprised how much fun I had playing that game. I'm going to not say X-Wing just because I think it's a little expensive, but I like cash and guns because 4 to 8 players, it's a bluffing game.
Topher,
Very simple.
Just
What do
be
you?
honest, you just like shooting me.
Oh my god, I dream of it every night.
That is a kind of a guilty pleasure. Not shooting you in particular, but just being able to point guns at your friends, and it is a lot of fun. And mine, for season 2, I also gotta say, X-Wing miniatures.
Yeah,
It's
you
just, and the more expansions you buy, the more fun it is. I've probably played this game more since September when I started playing this game than any other game this year.
Yeah, my Amazon wish list is comprised 90% of X-Wing miniatures ships.
Nice.
We should post our wish list online.
I know, right?
Here are links to our wish list. There's Adam's, there's mine, there's Josh's.
All right, well, let's move on to our favorite games of all time, I guess.
Of all time?
Of all
Okay,
time.
so if my favorite one for this season is Cash and Guns, I have to pick an all-time favorite. I already got it. I already know what it is.
Yeah.
So what's yours?
Well, mine has got to be Risk Legacy. This game has just been one of my favorites ever since I got it, and no matter how many more games we play,
Yeah.
no matter how fun they are, this one still just captures my imagination more.
It's a great pick, yeah.
Yeah, the legacy games are fantastic because you can just make it your own. I love playing with the same group over and over again.
Yeah.
And you know what, Josh? I'm going to say my favorite game also happens to be Risk Legacy as well. So I know it's completely not unique to say it, but it has that kind of sway over me.
Yeah, but I mean, you've actually completed all of the games on yours.
I did,
haven't
yes.
you?
Everything is done. World capital's down. Everyone's got their private missions. Beat it into the ground.
You unlocked all those secrets that are inside the box.
Yes, I unlocked everything except for the thing underneath.
Ah,
There's still the one
secret
envelope.
So what's the opening goal for that? What do you need to do in order to open that?
I honestly probably when I get tired of the game itself.
So
You're gonna open it. The envelope
never?
actually says "Do not open ever."
Yeah. So I don't foresee that happening. I don't know when I'm going to open it.
Okay.
Well,
It's kind of
Adam,
like when are you going to push the button on a nuclear detonator.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Adam, tell us what your favorite game of all time is.
Well, see, I like your guys' line of thinking. Legacy games are great. However, my favorite game is Pandemic Legacy.
Oh yeah.
This is a hefty boy.
I've only played it once with you guys, but when first of all, Pandemic, the base game, is one of the #1 games in the world.
Nobody here loves Pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's clear that we stray away from it whenever possible.
It's really nice being a cyborg and not having to worry about Pandemic.
Yeah.
But like you can look at the size difference. So here's regular Pandemic. It's like a cereal box. And here's Pandemic Legacy. I've played this
It's like a
before.
family-size cereal.
Yeah, it's like 20-piece Colonel McNuggets, whatever.
That's your Circle K.
And so,
Not Circle K.
but this game, when I played Pandemic Legacy, it played just like regular Pandemic, but that means there's so much stuff in this that we haven't come across yet. There's something special about it, because like Risk Legacy doesn't really end after a certain number of games. Like, you can end it at 15, but there's stuff that keeps happening in Pandemic Legacy. What is that?
You can play a maximum of 24 potential games that occur throughout one game year. And as the title implies, there are probably going to be some extra stuff that comes out, season 2, 3, so that it can just keep going and keep getting great.
Yeah, and another thing is Matt Leacock, he also designed Risk Legacy.
Oh.
And it's like he took what he learned from Risk Legacy and then quadrupled it for this game. There are so many more things to unlock in this game. The rate at which you unlock things is much quicker, so it just keeps... It took what was in Risk Legacy and just improved upon it. Well, guys, legacies across the board. So I think hopefully next year we'll see more legacy games coming out and the next season of Pandemic Legacy.
Be sure to get it as soon as it comes out and review it for you folks.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I have here? I have a list of all the scores that we gave for ease of use, replay value, and overall fun for all the games we did in Season 2.
Okay, what's that show?
And what I've noticed, and what you have circled here, actually,
Do you have
Josh,
some graphs?
is... Yeah, there's a graph right here.
I am not adding it.
Okay. Well, you could just make it up.
All right.
But the thing is, out of all the games that we've played, on our scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the most difficult to play, 10 being the easiest to play.
All the way from hardcore gamer to casual gamers.
Yeah, all the games sort of averaged out at the end of the season for about a 7 overall.
Yeah. So none of the games were more difficult than a 6. So we, as a team, kind of said, hey, all the games we've played this year are for avid gamers or casual gamers.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that a hardcore gamer doesn't like them. It just means that these games are easy enough for casual gamers to pick up. So
not a filthy casual gamer. That's not what that means.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason behind that is the developers of these games want to make them as simple mechanically as possible so that they are more interesting to a mass audience.
That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. These developers spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours developing these games and coming up with the mechanics that make them work and that make them fun. And it would only make sense that for the majority of the games that they come out with, they make it available to the mass audience.
Yeah.
And even if there is a difference between games, there's Cash and Guns versus Star Wars X-Wings, there is, what were you saying? There's an underlying language in board games. It's like the more that you expose yourself to these games, even of varying difficulties, the more you're going to quickly understand how the game operates as just overall experience.
Yeah.
So perhaps that may have played into why we viewed all the games as only having about a 7 difficulty.
Yeah.
Because we've been
We understand the language.
Yeah,
Thank you,
our
yeah.
views are inherently skewed.
yeah.
And we try our best when we give scores for all of our games to be as objective as possible.
Yeah.
But I've found with playing with my family and my extended family that if you don't understand the general language and the general words that we understand very easily, these games can be, there can be a larger learning curve to learning these games. But we hope that we give you guys as accurate of an estimate as we can.
Yeah. That's why we asked for your scores in the comments below.
Absolutely.
Tell us what you
really
think.
helps us out.
So what's next? Replay value? Well, I mean, replay value overall was a 6.5. So not every game can be as fun as the next.
Yeah. Not every game can be X-Wing.
Yeah, absolutely. Or Cash and Guns. I could play this 2 times in a row, every single time Christopher brings it over.
Actually, Coup is a good example of that.
Coup
Because
is a wonderful example, which we will hopefully be getting to sometime in the next couple weeks.
yeah, absolutely. So that's something. It's with these games that have less than 15 minutes of playtime to them, you end up playing 6 or 7 times in an hour.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like the time really flew by as fast. It's
And
just,
it doesn't
it's so
get old
good.
either.
No.
Yeah.
So that's another wonderful thing. That goes back into the development of these games. These game developers figure out ways to make a 15-minute game that you still want to play over and over again. And then they can also come up with a game that takes, 2 hours to play or, just longer to play, but are still engaging enough that during those 2 hours you don't get bored.
Yeah.
So what's this last one here? Overall fun. About a 7 for overall fun. I don't think we're just easy to please.
Yeah.
Sometimes
easy.
I think we're easy to please, but also, I gotta admit it, we kind of like playing the games that we like to play.
Yeah.
And we do have a few board games on our list of board games that we need to play that we kind of already know that we don't like.
If you ever want to see me just rage quit a board game, bring Tammany Hall.
Tammany Hall.
I will rage.
I've not
quit.
played that one.
I've heard
Tammany
that
Hall.
before. Actually, how about that? That's out to you guys in the audience, guys and gals. If you think that there's a game, you absolutely hate it. You think we might hate it.
Yeah.
Suggest it. Put it in the comments. We'll take a look at the game.
Alhambra would be great.
No, stop. We already played Alhambra.
We already
I hate
played
Alhambra.
Alhambra.
I never want Alhambra. I don't know how it won all those European medals.
I don't know how
I don't care.
And you know what? We gave it too good of a score in
did.
season 1.
We did.
I don't think so. I love Alhambra.
Well, for whatever reason, a lot of people seem to agree that Alhambra's a good game because at the board game store, I see a giant box that says Alhambra in big letters. It's got multiple variations of it. And then the same thing with Splendor also. Splendor seems to be a very popular game, even though we kind of gave it a bad review.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing about Splendor. I do believe it is a good gateway game.
Okay, I can see that. It doesn't take very long to play. Not supposed to take very
Not
long to
supposed to,
play
yeah.
anyway. But yeah, I can see how it actually breaks down the basic elements of the cards and of a monetary system and the subterfuge and the non-cooperative gameplay. That's another thing. We're so used to cooperative games a lot of the times, or it's just you're operating completely independent of everyone else, and your actions don't influence your neighbor's actions.
Like in Arabian Nights.
Like in Arabian Nights, which is a good game, but Splendor is good for that because your actions do directly impact your neighbors. You don't want them to win, and here's how you can mess them up.
But I will say this, though, despite the fact that I think Splendor's a good family game and a good gateway game, I still wouldn't change my scores on it. Because regardless of what I think about the family games and gateway games, there's still all these other games that I would rather play than Splendor.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. You're absolutely right.
All right.
Were you going to say something positive about Splendor? Get out of here.
I didn't play Splendor with you guys. I've never played Splendor.
You've never played Splendor?
And I'm not inclined to from the reviews you guys gave.
Oh man.
So we did a lot of Kickstarter previews this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
What were some of your guys' favorites?
Well, the first game that I ever funded on Kickstarter, I actually got it. It's
Okay.
Steampunk Rally.
Very
and
cool.
we haven't had time this year to do a video on it. And honestly,
Coming soon to a YouTube channel near you.
yeah, and honestly, this game is so unique and fast-paced that we were trying to figure out how we could possibly film it. But I think I've got an idea, and you
Okay.
might see it next season.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. So, I liked... Okay, Mixtape Massacre. That was a funny game. That was one that did get funded.
Yep.
And you end up taking on the role of these stereotype Halloween villains. Like, I think it was the girl from The Grudge.
Yeah, like all these 1980s classic
Yeah.
horror
'Cause I was
villains.
like the girl from The Grudge or Poltergeist or whatever. Sean was the clown with a chainsaw.
I was some kind of, Jason Voorhees knockoff. It was
Yeah.
funny.
And I was the Invisible Man.
You not even playing it, but I enjoyed that game a lot because it was you versus the environment and each other. So you were collecting body parts as trophies, and whoever achieved a certain number of trophies, you won. Or if you killed all of your other stereotype bad guys, then you won. And there were so many. I think I got blown away by double-barrel buckshot. Like, I picked up the card, the art wasn't done, and it's like, dude loading on two 12-gauge rounds, and it just took too much damage.
They were hoping to have sent their board games out to all the backers by Halloween. Unfortunately, they got held back. But early next year, they are going to send their board game out to backers. So that's
Okay.
great.
Well, we'll
Very
do
cool.
a review of that too.
What else did we fund this year?
Valeria Card Kingdoms was one of our early ones.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
That was actually back in January, I
Yeah.
think.
No, it was April.
It was April?
I want to say it was April
Yeah.
or May.
You know what? A long time ago.
Yeah. First half of the year. Lots happened since then.
Okay.
But Valeria, the synergy that you build up with those cards just made the game such a quick-paced, just awesome time. And everybody's doing something because everybody's working off of those roles.
Yeah, we did that video on Valeria Card Kingdoms while we were still when we had the print and play version of it. You can see that video that no one is bored. No one's sitting there
Link
looking
to
at their
right here.
cell phone.
Absolutely.
It was fantastic.
There's no
Everyone had something to
analysis
do.
paralysis.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. That's coming in the mail early to mid-January of next year. I went ahead and I ordered that. So
Nice.
that's another thing for season 3. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait to see that one.
So, did Swamped. I remember we did
Yep.
Swamped. That's one where you're being chased by an alligator, and they're like, the map, you keep building the map.
Yep. Semi-cooperative.
Yeah, and it keeps switching, and you have your own objective opposite what the other players have, but then you also have this overriding objective that maybe you need to get that. It's all based on points. You can screw over your teammates, or you can go ahead and work together. Just don't get gobbled up by the gator. That was actually pretty fun. Yeah, it was also a fast game, too.
Yep. Some of our other games that we helped fund on Kickstarter that actually successfully funded were Paradox, Cultists of Cthulhu, and this month's is Fantasy Baseball, which has funded and is working on stretch goals right now. And I gotta say, out of all of those, the one I wish I could have gotten the most, I just couldn't afford it at the time, was Paradox. It's one about you're traveling through this wormhole to different times periods of the same planet, and you can pick up the cards from those different time periods, and that represents, I guess, collecting the alien. And when you put those past, present, and future cards together, they form a panorama. And so it's really neat. And then there's also elements of, it's like a Candy Crush game where you have to line up the different energy tiles so that you can collect them, and There's just a lot of interesting.
This is still all the same game?
This is the same
This
game.
is Paradox?
This was Paradox.
Okay, we're going to have to check out Paradox
Yeah,
at
I
some
know.
point.
We will definitely have to do that.
We just did a Security Council, like a how-to
Yep.
play on Security Council, because that was a print and play. That one was... we did a video this year about making your own game pieces, and Security Council was really hard because we had like 250 pieces of paper, little squares, and we had to color them with markers
Oh, yeah.
because we didn't have enough generic game pieces.
That one was the inspiration for why we went and did the generic homemade pieces.
Absolutely.
But I have a feeling that with those sturdy pieces, that would be a lot more fun. Because the problem with Security Council doing it as the print and play was somebody sneezes, somebody laughs, everything just goes scattering.
Oh yeah, that almost happened in the video too.
Yep.
And our last game that we funded or helped fund this year was Centauri Saga. It's a cooperative, or actually semi-cooperative, depending on what scenario you play that they unlocked, sci-fi adventure game where you're in a spaceship flying through space and fighting evil aliens. So that was another one of those games I really wanted to get, and I just couldn't. I just didn't have the funding to get it.
There are a couple of things that I just love in sci-fi. It's like spaceship, motley crew, fighting aliens,
Rock band?
pew pew. I love it. You need to just stop.
But now,
You're killing me.
unfortunately, all of our Kickstarter board game of the months that we chose didn't all get funded. So, Christopher, what are the ones that we didn't?
Okay.
Didn't get funded.
Let me just read the obituaries
We
here.
need to get some Sarah McLachlan going.
Yeah, The Arms of an Angel. So, Reign of Nations, Titans of Imperium, Welcome to Darling, and Argo. I love how I'm the one that actually has a hat, and you guys pretended to take your hats off.
I just have my
I
hand
was
to my
not
chest.
prepared for this segment.
Yeah, no, not at all. Why? There's not a heart there. Because
just
you're a robot. Because you're a robot now.
Well, that was this year in Kickstarter for the FailroadExpress, and definitely looking forward to next year when we are going to continue choosing our board game or our Kickstarter board game of the month and supporting them throughout the month.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys know of a Kickstarter, we probably haven't. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
We obviously can't keep track of all of them. If you guys have a suggestion, let us know.
Or
Go
if-
ahead, put it in the comments.
If you have a Kickstarter that you want us to pimp out, just let us know.
Yeah, and we can only have one game of the month, but there are so many more fantastic games that get made throughout the month that we don't even see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, feel free to comment about those.
We'd also be happy to print and play your game right here on the FailroadExpress.
Absolutely.
Well, that does it for FailroadExpress's 2015 holiday episode. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We hope you guys enjoyed the 2015 season, Season 2 of FailroadExpress's board game reviews.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
it was fun.
I look forward to bringing you guys, we look forward to bringing you guys more content in 2016. Absolutely. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Happy New Year, choo-choos.
We'll see you guys next year.
Have a kosher Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and whatever. Go hug some trees and dance in the forest if you're a Wiccan.